Reports coming out that the NHL and the Coyotes are preparing for a possible relocation to Salt Lake City.
The Arizona Coyotes are deserting the desert for Salt Lake City.
The National Hockey League is no longer a part of the Valley of the Sun.
Their final game of the season against Edmonton, ahead of what's probably the final game in the franchise's history.
Walking in, at first, it almost felt like just another day. And then you get inside and the staff comes up to you, fans start to come up to you. You look around at everybody's faces and you sort of realize the gravity of the moment.
There was so much emotion in that building that night. And once the fans arrived and it became a whiteout and everybody sensed the finality of the moment, it was pretty clear it was one of those once-in-a-lifetime moments.
It came in warm-ups, and it came when the players took the ice prior to puck drop. The crowd got it. The crowd understood this is different. The crowd understood that this is an important moment for Arizona hockey, and it was a standing ovation when they came up prior to the puck drop.
It was like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, how often do you cover the final game of a franchise in a city?
It reminded me of all the glorious whiteouts they had in the playoffs, but you knew this wasn't playoffs, and you knew this one hit different.
Ready to go from Tempe, Arizona, one final time.
I'm curious to see how this game goes. I think Edmonton's better, but it's hard to beat Will.
It was clear they were dialed in, too. They were playing hard.
They knew what was at stake.
Regardless of what people on the outside said, they knew they had the support of this fan base. So they really wanted to give them one final payback for all their support over the years.
The players, the coaches, they had all said that day and in the days leading up what this game would mean, and you can see right from the puck drop the emotion that they had, and you could tell because they scored just over 2 minutes into the game, which is something they didn't do a lot.
When Liam O'Brien scores the first goal, the place erupted. Gives me chills thinking about it now.
And this is against a playoff team that was still trying to find its seeding, and the Edmonton Oilers are a Stanley Cup favorite.
I don't know if there were many that expected to win, but once that game started, you saw what could happen. And I do think it's important that they went out on a high note.
The Coyotes controlled most of that game. I think that left at least a nice lasting taste in fans' mouths, and I think that meant a lot to the players.
This is the guy I've been talking to, I don't know how many years now when I pull into the arena.
21 maybe? Something like that, Craig.
Buddy, what does this mean to you?
It means end of an era.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it, but my hands are tied. I mean,
where am I going to see you?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That was the most difficult part for me, was watching the people that were close to this organization still, that were still working for this organization and getting paid by this organization, the disbelief that this was really, truly coming to an end.
I was in the bathroom overhearing people saying, I started looking at jobs. Like, these are people's lives and livelihoods on the staff side. And not only that, a lot of the staff are fans too.
And a lot of them we don't even know yet. They don't know their fate. They've been told 60 days, they've been told 30 days, they'll find out. Who knows with this ownership group what they're going to, what their fate's going to be. I just know, and I said this in my column that night, for me, this job, covering this beat, was always about the relationships, and I built so many of them with Coyote staff, past and present. I'm sure I'm going to maintain a lot of those relationships, but a lot of them fall by the wayside because you don't have that gathering place anymore. So it's just like, it's this deep sadness that the entire community is feeling right now.
For the fans, I mean, the number of people I saw crying who were almost speechless. People flew in from all over North America to be there at this game on a Wednesday in April that had no consequence to any playoff push or record, but it had consequence because this team means a lot to a lot of people. This was everything to Coyotes fans.
That night really hit home on how many people that truly affected.
Just shows the power of sport to me. When we talk about building arenas and the cost of it and should taxpayer money go to it, does it really pay off in the end? I think people always look at it just sort of a bottom line, but I wonder if they ever consider the impact it has on bringing a community together. And I don't even know how you put a price tag on it. That's where I go with all of this. Sports have the ability to galvanize people, to bring them together. And it can be across all sorts of differences. And we're certainly dealing with a lot of discord in humanity in our society right now. But sports can bring you together and give you a common goal. And that's what I think I found in the Coyotes community. They all came together for this crazy franchise that just seemed doomed from the start, but they never gave up on.
Coyotes fan is the most loyal, most passionate kind of person. Somebody who perseveres when everything goes against them. Every ounce of instinct would tell you that this is not the easy path, but you do it anyway. That's a Coyotes fan.
Coyotes fans have thick skin. Coyotes fans have been through so much. They've been through the threats of relocation for nearly 20 years. They've been through down seasons where they thought the team was going to leave. They have been ridiculed and joked and picked on and teased, and they keep coming. And they keep cheering their team on, and they keep wearing the jersey, and they're proud to be part of this fan base. And they're the group that says, we'll show you. We're bigger than this. We're proud of this. We are part of this.
Loyal to a fault. Absolutely loyal to a fault. As I mentioned earlier, they've been through so much. They've enjoyed so little success of any kind with this franchise, but they stayed with them. And those are probably my favorite kind of fans. I grew up in Chicago as a Cubs fan, and it's kind of the same thing. They never did anything the entire time I was there, but the fans stuck by them, and that's what happened with Coyotes fans.
We had those t-shirts here that said Arizona against everybody. That's what it's like being an Arizona Coyote fan. It's us against the world. It's us against you. It's David versus Goliath. It's us against the big boys. And I think when you have that one pack mentality, when it's us against everybody and hockey the hard way and scratching and clawing, all of those things we've heard, that's what a Coyotes fan is. And when they do it proudly.
I just felt such sorrow for these people because they were incredibly loyal, they were incredibly positive, and they always expected that it was finally going to resolve itself for the better, and instead they had to come and witness an event like we watched that night.
I felt overall that this was almost a celebration of this team. The atmosphere in the building was electric, amazing, supportive. It felt like a happy celebration, a send-off rather than a funeral.
I went and watched the last minute by myself. I went upstairs to the third deck and I sat in a corner and I pulled out my phone and I filmed it. The fans were on their feet. It was amazing. I wanted to soak it all in. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to be a part of it. And I wanted to say almost a little quiet goodbye to this organization in that last minute. And it didn't matter to me that they were winning. It's nice that they won. What mattered to me is to see that community understand how important that last minute was. Everyone on their feet. Everyone supporting this team till the bitter, bitter end. That last minute I still have on my phone, and that's going to be one of the best memories I had about this franchise.
That is one of those rare emotions, even as a writer, where the moment is beyond words. You just stand up and you take it in, you just drink it in, and you're realizing that this is it. It's finally here. The final game on home ice, final NHL game in Arizona, perhaps ever. It was powerful. A lot of emotions washed over me. I thought about how long I've covered this team, all the people that I've met, all the crazy stories that I've covered. It was a memorable night. It really was.
When the players got on the ice at the end, the one moment that struck me, and I've talked about him many times on the show, is the equipment manager, Stan Wilson, who is one of my greatest friends. And to see his legacy in Arizona end like that was really hard for me. But what the players did is they recognized that, and they all hugged him. It was spontaneous. It wasn't planned. Every player, one after the other, went and hugged this man that really cared about them and helped them. That struck a chord with me. That's when I swelled up. That's when I said the emotions were real.
It was my livelihood for forever. I grew up around this game.
This team was the most important thing in my life at times. And looking back, it probably shouldn't have been. And that being gone has left an empty space in me right now that I'm just not quite sure how I'm going to fill.
It doesn't quite make sense, and yet it does. And I also think at some level, having a hockey rink in the desert is a reprieve from the heat, and it's the perfect place. Having hockey in Arizona actually makes perfect sense.
So Godspeed to all that were involved and who invested in Arizona Coyotes hockey.